A Mother's Struggle. The day my youngest brother Jamie contracted polio, Mother thought the world had collapsed on her. The year was 1950 and there was no cure for the crippling disease. At age 7, Jamie was a very active little boy, always climbing trees and playing hide-and-seek with his friends. Sometimes he hid so well that no one could find him. Mother worried until one of my brothers located him, either inside an empty barrel or under the floorboards of the neighbor's house. That morning, Mother noticed that Jamie wasn't his usual self. Suddenly, he didn't want to play and wanted to remain in bed all morning. "What's wrong, honey?" Mother asked him. "I don't feel good, Mommy," he said. Mother felt his forehead and noticed a really high fever. She applied cold compresses and tried home remedies that usually worked, but not this time. Nothing seemed to help. Soon, dysentery and vomiting set in, and Jamie's little body became so weak he couldn't feel his legs. Mother picked Jamie up in her arms, grabbed my hand and said, "Let's go, Bonnie. I'm taking your brother to the doctor." As we rushed to the bus stop, I noticed that Mother struggled with Jamie's weight. He was tall for his age, and his legs seemed to dangle like a rag doll. We arrived at the clinic, and a doctor examined Jamie. Then he gave Mother the bad news. "Your son has polio." When we stepped out of the clinic, Mother had tears streaming down her cheeks. A child of 5, I cried with her. "Why, Jamie, dear God, why, Jamie?" she repeated over and over. Father worked long hours at a local warehouse, and Mother had no one else to turn to. 2 weeks later, Jamie had an appointment with a specialist at a distant clinic. With Jamie in her arms and me holding onto her dress, we boarded the bus that would take us to our destination. Mother truly hoped for better news. A specialist extracted fluid from one of Jamie's legs, and with a gloomy face, he gave Mother the sad diagnosis. "Your son will be a cripple for life. He will eventually lose every bit of strength in his legs, and he will never walk again." Instead of going straight home, we crossed the street and entered a large cathedral. We knelt down in one of the pews, and I watched as Mother prayed in silence. Her body shook with grief. Suddenly, Mother picked up Jamie and headed to the altar. "You come too," she told me. We reached the altar, and Mother placed Jamie at the foot of a wooden cross. I looked up, and my heart did a flip when I saw Jesus nailed to the cross. I knelt next to Mother and watched as she prayed with her heart and soul. While she prayed, her tears streamed down her cheeks. "Oh, dear Jesus," she pleaded, "please heal my son. Help him walk again. Make him well. If not, take him with you. While I'm here on earth, I can take care of him, but what's going to happen when I'm no longer here?" With despair in her voice, Mother ended her prayer with the words, "Just give me a sign. I'll do anything to heal him." 3 days later, Mother was watering her garden in front of the house. She loved rose bushes, and even though she'd forgotten to water them, they still had fresh blooms. Their odor reminded me of sweet perfume. While I played on the porch with my favorite doll, Jamie rocked back and forth in a small rocking chair. Mother had wrapped a wide belt around his waist to keep him from falling forward. As Jamie rocked, he looked up at the tree next to the house. "Look, Bonnie," he squealed. "There's a nest with 3 tiny birds in it." Suddenly, from out of nowhere, an elderly woman appeared at the front gate. Mother hadn't seen her because her back was turned. "Good morning. How are you today?" the lady greeted Mother. The lady wore a long black skirt and white blouse, and a black shawl draped over her shoulders. Her hair, pulled back into a bun, reminded me of a white donut. "Oh my, you have such beautiful flowers," she said with a sweet, angelic voice. "Thank you," my mother said. "Would you like some plant cuttings?" The lady accepted the cuttings, and as she turned her head, she spotted Jamie in the rocker, swaying back and forth. She smiled at him, and he smiled back. "What's wrong with your little boy?" she asked. "He has polio, and doctors have given no hope for a cure," Mother explained. "May I come in to see him?" the lady asked. "Of course," said Mother, quickly unfastening the latch on the gate to let her in. The lady got on her knees and gently removed the blanket wrapped around Jamie's legs. Mother kept his legs covered because they always felt cold. While the lady examined Jamie's legs, she chatted with him. "You have such pretty eyes," she told him. "Thank you," he responded politely. The lady then proceeded to rub her hands up and down from Jamie's hips to his toes. Afterwards, she wrapped him up again. "Your son will regain the movement of his legs," she told Mother. "But you must do what I tell you, and you have to do it hour after hour, day after day, without fail." "I'll do anything, no matter what it is, to heal him," said Mother. The lady then gave Mother instructions. First, you get some flannel cloth and cut it into small pieces. Next, you place it into a bucket with warm water. With a soft brush, you massage him from the waist down to his toes. Then you wrap his legs from his hips to his toes using the wet flannel cloth. Remember, the water must be kept as warm as possible, she repeated twice. If you do exactly as I tell you, your son will get well. Mother did not know how to thank the lady. She quickly bent down to pick up the plant cuttings the lady had placed on the ground, and when she turned around, the lady had disappeared. "Did you see her, Bonnie?" Mother asked me. "No, Mammy," I said, looking up and down the street. "I don't see her anywhere." The lady had disappeared like a puff of smoke. Mother inquired with neighbors about the lady, but no one seemed to know her. We never saw her again. Day after day, night after night, Mother followed the lady's instructions. She repeatedly rubbed Jamie's legs with a soft brush, and then followed up with the soaked flannel cloths. As a result of continuous soaking of her hands in hot water, she developed large sores and her skin peeled, but she would not give up. Mother encouraged the mothers of other children who had contracted polio to do as she did, but they only criticized her. "There's no cure for the disease. You're killing yourself and nothing will be accomplished," they said. Mother ignored their comments and soon proved them wrong. After 2 months of non-stop therapy, Jamie moved one of his big toes. That day, I saw Mother cry tears of joy. Jamie's progress had given her more reason to continue the therapy, even if it meant a sacrifice on her part. She barely slept at night and had lost a ton of weight because she skipped meals. Mother's only goal was to heal my brother. 2 more months passed, and Jamie began to move his legs by himself. Within 3 months, he crawled like a baby, and by the time school started, he was ready to walk to school with his friends. Mother and I strolled into the cathedral one morning with Jamie at our side. We headed to the altar and Jamie knelt before Jesus on the cross. "Thank you, Jesus, for healing me," he said. I truly believe that Mother's love, faith, and persistence played a major role in my brother's healing. The scars on her hands were a testimony to her ultimate sacrifice for him. Jamie played baseball and football in high school, and after he graduated from college, he worked as a law enforcement officer.